This is your ultimate solo guide to the brand new Bad Signal mission and Dark Aether bounties in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. If this video helps you out, please drop a like, as this is no easy task and I'm fairly certain that making this has started turning my hair grey. But without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. First things first, your loadout. What are the things you should be bringing with you into this mission? For the gun, the WSP Swarm with the aftermarket part seems to be the main play right now that a lot of the community are using for Bad Signal. I do have to say a huge thanks to fellow zombie creator Donut for putting me onto this gun, as without it I'd be in shambles. Now if you're already stacked to the teeth with high tier loot or the perks you could want, then just skip to the time frame on screen. For the rest of you, I want you to make sure that you have a tier 3 armor and a large backpack. You can get these from bounty rewards. Merc strongholds have a guaranteed tier 3 armor in the safe. You can also buy these from buy stations in the high threat zone for 10,000 points each. I've already mentioned what gun I recommend you use, but there is also the MCW that I've seen a lot of people using if you want to use that. Plus, if you're comfortable with other weapons, just use those. But the WSP Swarm is something that I still would recommend. But now let's talk about rarity and Pack-a-Punch. At minimum, you should be taking an epic tier weapon into the Dark Aether zone. Epic weapons give you 150% extra base damage, and legendary gives you 200%. So make sure you have some ether tools laying around. If not, don't worry. Ether tools are a pretty common reward from contracts, especially in the tier 2 and high threat zone. Just focus on bounty contracts and you'll get one soon enough. Pack-a-Punch is a no-brainer. Get to level 3. Use your Ethereum crystals if you have them, or do a bunch of contracts until you can afford to buy it. There is a Pack-a-Punch inside the Dark Aether as well. It's located right in the middle of the map that you'll absolutely run past at some point, so don't worry about not being able to find it. For perks, there is no harm in grabbing them all. They all cost 2,000 points, which is 18k if you're going to buy all 9, but once again, you can get them from contract rewards. They spawn very frequently in caches located in infested strongholds. You also have acquisitions if you have them unlocked, not to mention the free perk Easter eggs scattered around the map. For the field upgrade, Guarded Frenzy is great as it will refill your plates when activated, and armor plates will be a necessity when you're in the Dark Aether, so getting some for free is always great. Healing Aura and Tesla Storm are also strong candidates. As for tacticals, lethals, and kill streaks, just take what you want. Alright, so when you load into the raid, you will have the standard 60-minute time limit to get fully set up for the Bad Signal mission, so take your time. Use all your acquisitions, perks, weapon upgrades, so your backpack is now empty. Do a couple of contracts to earn some points so you can buy any outstanding perks or upgrade your guns depending on what crystals you brought in. Whilst you are getting those things, I want you to focus on getting as many plates and self-revives as possible, which is where the large backpack comes into play. Depending on how confident you are in your own ability is where you can decide how much of what to bring in. But I would recommend taking 3 self-revives, so 1 is equipped and 2 in your backpack. These are pretty common rewards from contracts, and you can also buy them for 5k from buy stations, and then fill the rest of your bag with plates. I don't care what loot you may have found, unless it's the best of the best, fill your bag with plates and revives. Nothing else. So when you have all your perks, a maxed out weapon, and a full bag, it's time to head into the Bad Signal mission, which you can find here. It will be marked on your map as one of the X4 missions with the star. When you load into the Dark Aether, you will have 30 minutes, and there are 5 things you need to do. 4 of those are seals that are spread around the map. You can go to these in any order, but I like to go left and then the 2 in the middle and then over to the right side. When you get to a seal, activate it and you will start a soul box lockdown kind of thing. These are all really easy, as the zombies in this area are only tier 2, so if you have a fully maxed gun, you will tear through everything. Just make sure when you are killing the zombies, they are inside the elemental ring that you'll be able to see once the seal is active, so the souls are actually counting. Go to each of the 4 locations and complete the lockdown. It will take you no more than 5 to 7 minutes to get them all done. From here, you are going to be told to exfil, but really what is going to happen when you reach the exfil is an ether worm is going to spawn, and this guy is difficult to kill. Do not think this is going to be an easy fight like at the end of Act 3. This worm is stronger and way more aggressive. I cannot stress this enough, but once the worm has spawned, get the hell off the beach. Do not stay there, do not go back there once you leave, unless it's for ammo or to get him to stop hiding underground, which we'll talk about in a second. But other than that, do not even think about fighting this guy on the beach. He will kill you. Instead, what you are going to do is retreat to this bathroom building that is going to be your little safe haven. It's going to protect you from all but one of his attacks, which is where he shoots out those little orbs. Other than that, he cannot hit you. You are completely safe from the worm. There may be a time when he makes his way over to you on the road, but don't worry. Go into one of the rooms and stay there until he leaves. Yet again, he cannot hit you. The only attack that will get you is the orbs, which you can easily shoot and destroy. So to deal damage to this guy, you want to be aiming at these glowing purple sections on his body. They are the weak spots, and that is where you'll be dealing the most damage. Just focus on those and watch out for when he's going to attack so you can get behind the building. The only attack he'll do when you're up there and he's on the beach is his laser ability and the orbs. You'll know the laser is coming when his body starts to light up like lightning, so get behind the building. And for the orbs, he'll basically let out like a roar, so watch where the orbs go. Stay behind the building and just wait for the orbs to come to you where you can shoot and destroy them. There are going to be times where he goes underground. This can be very annoying to deal with, don't worry. You can see where he's going by just following his trail, and you can also shoot him. Doing this will cause him to resurface, where he will usually shoot out some of those orbs, so keep a lookout for where they go, as they do hurt when they hit you. He will also go underground to heal. You'll know this is happening when this purple ring appears, and you need to disturb this process or he will heal a good chunk of his health. You can shoot or throw grenades, thermites and whatnot at this ring that will get him to resurface, but I find the best way to do this solo is to channel your inner Evel Knievel and quickly run onto the beach. This will instantly stop his healing, but he will attack you. If you don't have plates, do not do this, as he will swallow you, and if you don't get out in time, he'll spit you out and just insta down you. If you do have plates, however, he'll just throw you into the air when he hits you, where you can redeploy your parachute and land safely back behind the building. I know it's high risk, but it's also high reward. Just rinse and repeat this process and take your time. I know you're against the clock, but it will not take you that long, I promise. Stay behind the building, deal as much damage as you can with the swarm when you can, and you will be fine. You'll eventually kill him, and yes, I did get a little excited here, but you will eventually kill him, and when you do, you can collect your loot. I got a VR11 and Scorcher case. You might get different, you might get the same, I'm not really sure. But before you leave, for the love of God, go over to the reward rift and stow the item you receive in your bag. You are going to need this for the next part. That diary is one of 4 parts you need to access the Dark Aether Rift that is located down by the high threat zone. You can leave this item in your stash so it is safe, and you can also exfil with the other 3 parts, so don't worry about having to do this all in one run. You can simply just do it one by one, and then when you're ready, take all 4 parts into one raid. Alright, so starting us off, we have the toxic item. To get this, you need brain rot on one of your guns. With brain rot equipped, head over to an ether nest, specifically a nest, and shoot one of the cysts. Make sure it's one you can actually reach though. Once the cyst has been shot, go over to it and open it. From here, clear out the nest and head back over to that cyst you opened and collect the pill bottle that it will drop. From here, you need to find an ether rift. Once you go through it, spam the crap out of your parachute deploy key or button as soon as you're in the air, because you will need to find and go through a green ether rift. Once you do this, you will see a glowing wisp, follow it down, and you'll notice a purple tier 1 bounty. Pick it up and take out the mimic, and then collect your upgraded version of the pill bottle. For the next item, you will need to find a harvester orb. Make sure you are using dead wire. When you find one, shoot it and it will turn gold. Now make sure you destroy it and collect the item it drops. This time it will be a CCTV camera. Now we repeat the rift step, except this time when you're airborne, you are looking for a gold rift. Once again, go through it, follow the wisp, grab the bounty, and now you will have to take down a tier 2 disciple. This one is a bit harder as it spawns a bunch of enemies, including more disciples. so make sure you've got some strong firepower. Once the HVT has been defeated, collect the upgraded item from the reward rift. For the final item, you will need a chunk of meat that you can get from killing zombies with either headshots or fire damage. You will also need either a Molotov or a thermite. Look for a doghouse, place the meat and the Molotov in, and then kill the hellhound that it spawns and pick up the dog collar. Once again, find a rift, and once airborne, go through the red rift, following the wisp and grab the bounty. This time it will be tier 3 manglers you have to take down. This is the same deal as the disciples, where it spawns a bunch of enemies, and this got very chaotic for me in my game, so make sure you are prepared for a fight. Once the HVT is down, grab the item, and that is 4 for 4. With all 4 items, you are now ready for the Dark Aether. Equip all 4 items from your stash and bring with you any high tier tools, crystals, and perks you may have. I also recommend using the tier pistol for this next part. It's still the best gun in the game, and with this new tier 4 difficulty, which if I'm being honest is basically just a ramped up version of tier 3 zombies, so the tier will have no problem taking down anything and everything in the Dark Aether. I also recommend switching over to the Energy Mine field upgrade. There are a lot of enemies here, and the Energy Mine does a great job at just clearing hordes of zombies, plus it recharges very quickly in comparison to other field upgrades. Alright, after loading into the main raid, use whatever items you have with you, and yet again you'll have a full run to get any leftover perks and weapon upgrades, which I would focus on before you take on the Dark Aether. Once you are set up, make your way over to the Dark Aether area, where you will need to place those 4 items in these podiums. The diary goes into cryo, pill bottle into brain rot, camera goes into dead wire, and the dog collar goes into napalm burst. Once these items have been placed, there will be a big Dark Aether rift spawn along with a HVT mega abomination and a bunch of zombies. Do not worry. Yes, it's a small area to fight in, but it's very easy to train all the enemies around in a circle. Be patient and wait for the A-bomb to open his mouth or do the laser attack, exposing that weak spot, and you will be all groovy. Once the A-bomb is down, it will drop a reward rift that will have a sigil in. This is what you'll be using now and in the future to open this rift. You can get future ones from tier 3 contracts, so you do not have to collect those 4 items every single time. There are also elder sigils, which can only be acquired from the Dark Aether by completing contracts, and this basically just makes the Dark Aether more difficult, meaning better rewards. To access the Dark Aether, place the sigil in this circle thing on the left of the rift, and you are good to go. Upon entering the Dark Aether, you will have 30 minutes, and there will be 3 Mr. Peak bunnies. These will act as contract pickups, and they spawn in the same 3 areas every single game. Also, quick note, at the end of the bridge, when you first spawn in, you will spot a mega abomination. If you jump over to the left or the right, I went left of the bridge, before you get to like the actual road and whatnot, you can skip fighting the mega abomination. He will not target you, he will not lock onto you, and then you can just avoid them for the rest of the game, making your life way easier. Now, as I said, these contracts will spawn in the same 3 areas every single game. There is one to the left on top of the Toxic Seal building, and this will give you the Extractors contract where you defuse the rockets. There is an Outlast contract on this green bus near our favorite building, and this will always take place in the Cryo Seal room, and it is very easy. Lastly, there is an escort mission on one of those towers. Now, as a solo player, I would recommend avoiding this one, as it is way harder than the previous 2 contracts. That mega abomination I just mentioned, he's going to be there annoying you. Tons of manglers, tons of disciples, tons of zombies. It is just pure stress, so I would avoid doing it. It's not worth it. Doing these contracts are how you unlock the new schematics, which are the golden armor plate, ether blade, and the dog bone. I'm not sure if you can unlock things like the scorcher and the legendary ether tools and whatnot. I think you can, but at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know. To leave the Dark Aether, there are 2 portal rifts, smaller versions of the one you used to enter the Dark Aether, much like the one you used to enter the Bad Signals mission. One is placed on the ground, and there is another one that will spawn on one of the towers. If you are unsure as to where they are, do not worry. They emit a very unique and loud noise, and you can use this to locate where the rift is. When you use it, it will instantly end your game with a successful exfil. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your solo guide to the brand new Act 4 mission and Dark Aether bounties. Once again, if you found this video helpful, please drop a like. I wish you all the best in your Dark Aether loot hunts. My name has been Satch, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.